My daughter Wendy said, Dad, you gotta see Jetsons the movie. It's cool.
Now, Wendy's has a fun way for your family to meet the Jetsons. Just order the Jet Pack, a delicious quarter-pound single and a large drink, and we'll give you a free Jetsons the Movie cup.
I guess I'm just old-fashioned.
That George is my kind of guy.
Come in for a Jet Pack and your free Jetsons the Movie cup.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Bryson Booker, and it's time for another... Oh, man. I don't know why I'm laughing, because the movie wasn't really that funny. It's time for another animated cartoon movie review just for you and you and you and you and you and those aliens that are in outer space watching BBTV. I know it's happening. There's aliens watching BBTV. And probably not just BBTV, but they're probably watching me. And I better keep my eyes peeled because there might be some in this very basement that I may not know about. Like that one right there. Well, looks like it's time to call Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Oh boy, the Men in Black. Maybe they can help me with this. But listen, this is not about aliens. This is about the Jetsons. And we all know about the Jetsons, right? You know, this family of the future. You know, they predicted the future. And some of the stuff that they predicted, if you go back and watch the original series from 1962, they actually predicted some things that we have today in 2017, like Skype, and different things like that. And I don't even use Skype because I'm like the Jetsons, at least the year when they came out. I'm old school. I don't use none of that stuff. But anyway, what's not old school, well, it kind of is, but what lasted throughout the years as far as Jetson franchising is their movie, the Jetsons movie, released by Universal Pictures in 1990. And so this movie was basically the first ever feature film of the Jetsons. It's not Hanna Barbera's first feature film. No. When people think of the Jetsons movie, they're like, oh, this is Hanna Barbera's first feature-length film. No, they've been making feature films since around the 60s. With Hey There, it's Yogi Bear, The Man Called Flintstone. Those movies were feature-length movies that were actually released in theaters. So the Jetsons movie isn't really anything new for the company. I think the only thing really new that they added in this movie was the computer animation, which at that time was revolutionary. It's like, I don't know, I could do this with environments because, Roger Rabbit kind of formulated that whole thing. Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of established that whole, oh, you can do this with computers. We didn't know that. So, everybody in their 90s wanted to get their grubby paws on it and started doing it in everything, even commercials. And the Jetsons movie, is basically one of those people that wanted to apply that concept that so many people learned from Roger Rabbit, and Steven Spielberg himself. But the Jetsons movie was released in 1990, and I'm going to give you a short summary of it. So, basically, okay, so we're in the Jetsons world, and Spacely Sprocket, George Jetson's boss, Mr. Sprocket, wants to make his 1 millionth Spacely Sprocket. And he wants to do this basically at his Spacely Sprocket headquarters where they make it all. And so, when all the other vice presidents go out, Mr. Spacely's like, who's going to be my next vice president? Oh, I know, George Jetson. So he hires George Jetson, and George Jetson and his family move out to Mr. Spacely's new business, well, current business that makes his sprockets, somewhere in another galaxy, I guess. And so, him and his family try to make do at home while George goes to the plant to try to make Spacely's 1 millionth sprocket. But there's something going on. People keep destroying the gear and the machines that make the sprockets, and Spacely can't get his 1,000th or 1 millionth sprocket. So who does he blame? Jetson! And Mr. Jetson is in trouble, and, he may or may not lose his job because Spacely is not making money. So George has to either save his job or save these little gremlins or little fuzzy bears or whatever that are living under Mr. Spacely's plant, and whose Mr. Spacely is destroying their home from all the digging and mining that he's doing. So he either has to save them or his job. So he has to choose which one to save. And his family, obviously, go with us, go with us. But George has to make that choice. And that's all I'm going to really say about it. But that's basically the summary of the movie. Along the way, they get attached to where they live. There's a side plot with Judy and, God, I forget that pop star that she liked, that she didn't get to go on a date with because they moved. There's this whole side plot with each family member and how they viewed the move that they made. But it's not really the main plot. The main plot is what I just said. George Jetson and Mr. Spacely and his 1 million sprocket. How they execute that is pretty decent. The Jetsons movie isn't a laugh out loud movie. Does it have typical Hanna Barbera, whams and slams of, our Hanna Barbera spice, what they spice on a little bit? Yeah, it does have that spice of Hanna Barbera in it. But it's not so much so that it's overshone with comedy because, keep in mind, guys, this was a family movie. So, they couldn't make it all funny and then just lose, the family portion of it. They had to kind of balance it out. And that's what they try to do in this movie. The animation is okay. It's a little bit clunky at times. It's not as smooth as something like, I guess you could say, the futuristic world of Hanna-Barbera, that ride from Universal Studios. That animation was smooth. On the Jetsons movie, it's not really that smooth like that, but it's workable. It's decent. You can tell that they put the most effort in the CGI environments. The only things that are kind of CGI in this movie are the environments, And that's really what they could do at that time. And the environments look pretty good in CGI, and that's, considering that's the only thing that they made in CGI, it's pretty good. The voice acting is where my problems come in. All the original voice actors from the Jetsons, from Mel Blanc, who he actually did the voice of Mr. Spacely before he died. So that's leading me to believe that this movie was probably made in the late 80s, but wasn't released until 1990. So they probably made it in like 89, 88, with all the original voice actors and voice cast. And by the way, how they recorded the voices, kind of seems like it didn't really fit with the movie that well for some reason. But that's me. That's nitpicky with me. But all the original voice actors, except Judy Jetson, which is played by this pop star at the time called Tiffany. Tiffany does not do a good job acting. Let me just be the first to say that if other movie historians or other cartoon gurus hasn't said that already. Judy Jetson does not sound like Judy Jetson to me. And I was kind of nitpicky about that because, it's Judy Jetson. How could you get it wrong? For corn's sake. It's like they gave this pop star a script and she's like, well, do I say it? With the least amount of emotion and, at least possible emotion as possible. And it's like, man, does she sound dull? But, of course, the reason why Universal Studios put Tiffany there was because she was a pop star. And, what's these movies without one celebrity superstar to play one of your favorite characters who really can't act? But they can sing. And Judy Jetson does do some singing in this movie, obviously to highlight Tiffany. And that's where the shining point of Judy Jetson is, in the singing portion of the film. But the acting portion falls flat on its face with Judy Jetson. The rest of the voices do a pretty decent job because they're the original voices of the Jetsons, with the exception of the new robots that the Jetsons meet as they go to Mr. Spacely's plant. But most of the original voice actors are back, but the Judy Jetson it's like, what did they do? Why did they do it, and what was the reason behind why they did it? But anyway, all in all, it's a pretty decent movie to watch. Like I said, not laugh out loud funny, and there's a little moral that they want you to get at the end of the film. I'm just going to let you know now. Those of you who hate that, I don't blame you for hating those little morals that they put at the end of family movies. But it's at the end of the Jetsons movie. So just get ready. If you haven't seen it already, just get ready to see it, because it's coming. That little moral that you'll need to take with you as you leave. Just get ready. But all in all, it's a pretty decent movie from Hanna Barbera and Universal Studios, who would later go on to create another smash fail for Hanna Barbera, The Flintstones, in 1994. But that's another one that I haven't seen in a while, and I need to watch again. But the Jetsons movie is a pretty decent movie. Released by Universal Studios in 1990. It's great, guys. It's pretty decent. Go watch it.